And all of a sudden this window opened up where I was safe, I had money, he loved my children. It wasn't something he feared. He seemed to be comfortable with the enormity of the ex-husband. I mean, you know, I felt like I was not coming with baggage, I had trunks.
Demi Moore kicked off the year by revealing deeply personal stories that impacted her life. Appearing on GMA, she opened up to Diane about her marriages to Bruce Willis and Ashton Kutcher, her painful childhood, and shocking revelations about Ashton.
Demi Moore is on GMA, and she's telling us about her life like we've never heard it before. Today she talks to Diane about her marriages to Bruce Willis and Ashton Kutcher.
What truly happened behind closed doors with Hollywood's once beloved couple? And how did Demi rebuild her life and reclaim her voice? Join us as we expose what Demi Moore just revealed about Ashton Kutcher is shocking. Demi Moore had a compromising early life. Everyone assumes Hollywood couples live perfect lives, filled with fame, glamour, and love. But behind closed doors, no one sees the tears they shed in silence. Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore initially believed this was their life story, a public model to most families, due to their undefying chemistry. Their unconventional and lovable relationship earned the attention of the media and the world at large, making them the most passionate couples on set. However, there was something far from glorious lurking beneath their beautiful smiles and cherry appearances, a facade a lot of fans began to notice. To understand these beautiful couples, one has to go beyond the confines of the shining headlines and know how they started their early years together. But first, let's explore her tragic early life and how destiny cheated her from birth. Born on November 11, 1962, in Roswell, New Mexico, Demi Moore's biological father, Air Force Airman Charles Foster Harmon Sr., deserted her whilst growing up. Then her mother, Virginia, was just barely 18 years old, who was just a 2-month marriage before Demi Moore's birth. Charles came from Lynette, Alabama, and Virginia was born in Richmond, California, but had grown up in Roswell. Demi Moore's maternal grandmother was raised on a farm in Elida, New Mexico, while she has deep roots in the south central and southern United States, particularly Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Georgia. When Demi Moore was just 3 months old, her mother married Dan Gines, a newspaper advertising salesman who frequently changed jobs. And as a result, the family relocated countless times. Demi Moore's stepfather, Dan Gines, after he had married Virginia, Demi Moore's mother, divorced her twice due to reasons kept secret from the media. Around October 20th, 1980, a year after their second divorce from each other, he harmed himself, leading to his death. But this got only worse for the life of Demi Moore. 17 years later, her biological father, Harmon, died in 1997 from liver cancer in Brazoria, Texas. Then her mother had a long arrest record, which included drunk driving and arson. Things weren't getting any better, which led to a series of bad decisions on the part of Demi Moore. She broke off contact with her mother in 1989 when she walked away halfway through a rehab stay she had initially financed at the Hazelden Foundation in Minnesota. But how worse could she get cheated by a bad destiny? Her mother posed nude for the magazine High Society in 1993, where she spoofed Demi Moore's Vanity Fair pregnancy and body paint covers, parodying her clay scene from Ghost. After so much hatred for so many months, both mother and daughter reconciled shortly before the untimely death of Virginia on July 2, 1998, due to a brain tumor. Demi Moore was then forced to spend her early childhood in Roswell before moving to Canonsburg, Pennsylvania. Bob Gardner, a photographer for the Monongahela Daily Herald when Dan Gines was head of advertising, recalled that Demi Moore always looked malnourished every time she appeared. That was because she suffered from strabismus and kidney dysfunction, which were later corrected by 2 operations. Few years later, Demi Moore learned that Gaines was not her real father. Then she was just 13 years old. This discovery came as a result of a marriage certificate inquired about the circumstances surrounding her, since she saw her parents had been married since February 1963. At 14 years old, Demi Moore returned to Roswell, her hometown, and lived with her grandmother for 6 months before relocating to Washington State, where her recently separated mother was residing near Seattle. Several months later, the family moved again to West Hollywood, California, where Demi Moore's mother took a job working for a magazine distribution company. It was from there she started attending Fairfax High School. Around 2019, Demi Moore stated that she was forced into an unwilling intimacy at barely 15 years old by landlord Basil Demis, a 49-year-old man who claimed he had paid her mother to get access to forcefully assault her, although she said it is unclear if this were true. Living with this hatred and guilt, around November 1978, Demi Moore moved in with Tom Dunstan, a 28-year-old guitarist, and made the difficult decision to quit high school in her junior year just so she could work as a receptionist at 20th Century Fox, a job she got through Tom's mother, who was an executive assistant to producer Douglas S. Kramer. Demi Moore was then compelled to sign with the elite modeling agency, where she got enrolled into acting classes after being inspired by German starlet Nastasia Kinski, her next-door neighbor. Her first and second roles as a professional actress were guest spots on the TV shows Web and Kaz, though neither is listed in her IMDb filmography. In August 1979, 3 months before her 17th birthday, Demi Moore married Freddie Moore, a musician at the time leader of the band Boy, at the Los Angeles nightclub The Troubadour. According to rumors, Freddie had obtained a divorce in late 1980 and married Demi 6 weeks later. How did Demi Moore meet Ashton Kutcher? And what were the tragedies that befell her? The mystery behind Hollywood's most famous couple. Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, the glamorous couple of the 21st century, met in 2003 at a very simple dinner party, far from the normal Hollywood drama. At the time, Demi Moore was going through a challenging period from her divorce with Bruce Willis. On the other hand, was Ashton Kutcher, who was gaining the accolades from being a mischievous prankster. He was really enjoying the spotlight at the time, and no one believed the both of them would really go along well. According to Demi Moore, the love that started brewing between her and Kutcher wasn't really at first sight, but just an unexpected, destined meetup that some fans confused to be fate. Prior to that, in an interview, Demi Moore noted that after her fated first meeting with Kutcher, their bond grew deeper due to their shared experiences.
I don't know, it's so silly. I think part of it is we've been conditioned societally to look at the value of a woman being tied to her fertility. Like, what would an older woman have to offer?
She explained how the both of them had gone through storms and struggled together as a couple to rise to the spotlight. The chemistry between Demi and Kutcher was so electrifying that none could deny it. A lot of people even termed and recorded them as Hollywood's hottest couple, with the wide 14-year age gap between them becoming a global topic of discussion. Though some admired Demi Moore for deciding to flow along with a younger partner despite the challenges of Hollywood's double standards on relationships, skeptics had a different view on the couple. Skeptics believed Demi and Kutcher's relationship was doomed to fail because of how it started. Yet Demi Moore and Kutcher weren't bothered by the criticism. Instead, they shone brighter in the spotlight. Their public appearances were carefully choreographed, making people envy their love. However, behind the scenes were deep cracks hidden from the media. The pressures of fame, media attention, quest for perfection, and difficult stages of life began to eat them up and break them apart. Kutcher was just rising to the spotlight, so his youthful, vibrant energy was something he was basking in, while Demi Moore, a mother of 3, was struggling with balancing her career, motherhood, and her newfound love in Kutcher. Although the couple presented an image of a perfect family, with Kutcher who had to make the difficult decision to play a paternal role with Demi Moore's daughters, it wasn't funny. Publicly, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher seemed to have it all, but privately, their relationship was more fragile than it appeared. What were the troubles that plagued their relationship, and how did they scale through them? The tragedy that befell Demi Moore. Around the middle of the early 2000s, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher were the model couple of the century that got the attention of the media, just as earlier stated, until a tragic fall. Tragedy befell Demi Moore in 2006 when she suffered an unplanned miscarriage. She was initially pregnant with a girl whom she and Kutcher had planned to name Chaplain Ray. The both of them had been planning to start up their family after the news of her pregnancy spread like wildfire. So it wasn't easy to pull through emotionally and mentally. She suffered a breakdown everyone thought she would never recover from. What Demi Moore just revealed about Ashton Kutcher is shocking. She shared this pain of hers in her memoir, Inside Out, where she exposed the guilt she suffered after the miscarriage, constantly blaming herself for the loss. It wasn't easy to pull through this difficult phase of her life, so Demi Moore hated herself so much and resorted to alcohol and Vicodin to forget the loss. But then her life got even worse, and nothing seemed to be getting better with her feeling of loneliness. This tragic loss almost made her crazy. When things were hoped to get a lot better, Demi Moore started having misunderstandings with Kutcher, leading to constant fights between them. Kutcher no longer trusted her anymore and began to keep her away from the updates in his life. Instead, he focused on his growth and how he could be better, making his star grow rapidly. Kutcher's television show, Punk'd, earned his status as a household name, with his global ventures in romantic comedies like What Happens in Las Vegas and other movies. Though Kutcher got surrounded by younger co-stars and grew himself more professionally, his lover, Demi Moore, was only growing from bad to worse. Demi Moore's career had slowed down, and she had to make the difficult decision to stop acting and focus on her family. Could their careers have pulled them further apart? Demi Moore focused more on her family life, while Ashton Kutcher deviated his full-time attention to his acting. This brought moments of insecurity and miscommunication between the controversial couple. Around 2009, when Kutcher started filming Spread, a racy comedy, Demi Moore started going to the set, making the tension between them grow deeper. Kutcher claimed that his co-star Jennifer Jason Leigh wasn't comfortable with Demi Moore's presence and requested her to leave. However, Demi Moore started suspecting him, that he probably had insecurities and wanted to hide it, and just lied about his co-star's discomfort just to get away with his flaws. To calm the pressures in her mind, Demi Moore expressed her feelings in writing Inside Out, even though at some point she wasn't honest. Demi Moore gave a biased view of the conflict brewing between her and Kutcher and expressed her concerns to the distrust growing between them, but she failed to explain that she had a share in the distance between them. As Kutcher continued to focus on his career, Demi Moore became more isolated and focused on her personal life. What pulled Demi Moore into drug addiction? And how did she survive her tumultuous marriage? Demi Moore struggled with medications. As the relationship between Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher got exposed to the spotlight, Demi's struggles with substance insult intensified. However, Kutcher's controlling behavior, which she explained in detail in her memoir, contributed to her failure. The pressures of maintaining a facade of perfection, combined with her internal battles, fueled her dependence on substances to numb her pain. Their relationship, once built on mutual respect and passion, was left to just dust. Little did they know that the decisions they took without involving each other would result in more complications. What were the complications from the decisions Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher took? And how did it affect their careers and personal lives? Complications of their relationship. By the turn of the decade, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher's marriage was already at the edge of breaking apart. While they maintained their public image as a united couple, Demi Moore privately struggled with insecurities, unresolved grief, and Kutcher's growing fame. It was during this time that a decision, made in the name of spicing up their marriage, would come to haunt them both. While Demi Moore initially participated in the arrangement to please Kutcher and save their marriage, she came to see it as a mistake and decided to enjoy a life without him. Rumors of infidelity began to surface in 2010, with reports claiming that Kutcher had been unfaithful to Demi Moore with an almost 21-year-old woman named Brittany Jones. To worsen it, the immoral encounter recorded against Demi Moore took place at their shared home while Demi Moore was far away filming on the East Coast. But the scandal didn't end there. Brittany Jones later claimed that she had met Kutcher while he was out bowling with one of Demi Moore's daughters, rumor Willis. This affair became a public scrutiny, bringing the ever-loving couple to the spotlight of an angry media. The media frenzy that followed the scandal against Demi Moore only deepened her emotional wounds, leading her to begin battling with rejection and self-hatred. How did Demi Moore react to the allegations against Kutcher? And did she fight to keep her marriage? The painful silence. When Demi Moore confronted Kutcher about the allegations concerning the affair, his response was anything but reassuring. According to her account, Kutcher attempted to push the blame, suggesting that the crack in their relationship had been caused by the introduction of a third party. But then how did they survive the aftermath of the conflict between them? The rumors of infidelity and Kutcher's response left Demi Moore feeling isolated and betrayed. She no longer wanted to hold on to Kutcher anymore, as her fragile past marriage came like a storm that almost strangled her. Publicly, Demi Moore tried to keep up appearances, but privately, she was suffering from the media attacks and her crumbling marriage. The media, meanwhile, had a beautiful day with the scandal. Tabloid headlines dissected every detail of the alleged affair, turning Demi Moore and Kutcher marriage into a spectacle for public consumption. The once lovable couple was now a public mockery, with their every move scrutinized and analyzed. By the end of 2010, the trust that had once defined their marriage was all but gone. Around 2011, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher's marriage decided to go for a divorce. The infidelity allegations from the previous year had already created a deep rift between the ever-loving couple. But the events that unfolded during their 6th wedding anniversary would push their relationship to the breaking point. That year, Kutcher attended a bachelor party for his close friend, and that's 1970 show co-star Danny Masterson. The event, held at the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego, quickly became infamous due to the compromising event that happened afterward. Kutcher was then accused a second time of cheating on Demi Moore with a 22-year-old woman named Sarah Leal. The details of the encounter, which surfaced later that year, shocked both Demi Moore and the media. According to Sarah Leal, she met Kutcher during the party and ended up in his suite later that night. In an interview with US Weekly, She described the evening in vivid detail, revealing that they had shared a hot tub with others before retreating to Kutcher's room. Sarah claimed that Kutcher had kissed her and initiated the encounter, adding that he had told her he was separated from Demi Moore at the time. Sarah later explained Kutcher's reasoning for his actions by recalling him talking about how he enjoys the separation with his wife because he doesn't have real moments outside his acting life, unless when he's given opportunities like this to enjoy his intimate life with people like Sarah Leal. After Demi Moore heard about the betrayal and these justifications, she almost ran mad. The timing couldn't have been worse. The scandal broke on the weekend of their wedding anniversary, and since she had already endured so much, she reached her breaking point. Demi Moore later admitted that she felt humiliated both as a wife and as a public figure. The media frenzy surrounding the scandal only amplified her feelings of shame and isolation. As for Kutcher, he largely remained silent on the allegations. While he denied previous cheating rumors, he avoided directly addressing the Sarah Leal scandal. His silence made the public come up with their own conclusions on the matter. Meanwhile, Demi Moore was left to pick up the pieces of her shattered marriage and public image. The fallout from the scandal was swift and brutal. Speculation about the state of their marriage dominated headlines, with many predicting an imminent divorce. Demi Moore, who had always prided herself on maintaining a strong sense of self, now found herself with the pressures of hiding from the media. Despite the mounting pressure, Demi Moore tried to maintain a brave face. She focused on her daughters and her work, using her responsibilities as a mother and actress as a distraction from the turmoil in her personal life. But the emotional toll was undeniable. The betrayal, compounded by the public nature of the scandal, left her feeling broken and vulnerable. After 6 years of a tumultuous marriage, Demi Moore and Kutcher stood at the edge of finality. The separation of Kutcher and Demi Moore was officially announced in November 2011. Their divorce was finalized in 2013, yet the echoes of their connection seemed to linger in the silence. What challenges did Moore face during her healing process? Demi resorted to addiction. Haunted by the loss of who she once was, her substance insult resurfaced with a vengeance, resulting in a health crisis. Around 2012, Demi Moore's life took an unsettling turn when she was hospitalized after a seizure during a party, attracting a media frenzy that painted her struggles as a public tragedy. For Demi Moore, the divorce was a moment to discover herself. She became the woman who reclaimed her identity, rising from the ashes of heartbreak to forge her path anew. For Kutcher, the fallout was equally intense. His career took hits, and his reputation was forever marred by the scandal. Yet amidst the failure of their relationship, both began to rebuild their lives professionally and personally. Through therapy, spirituality, and a focus on her family, Demi Moore began to regain her former self. Shortly after their separation, Kutcher found solace with actress Mila Kunis, his former co-star from the 1970 show. They finally got married in 2015, and together they began building their lives together. Today, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher continue to grow their lives separately. However, their story still captures attention for different reasons. Will Kutcher ever step out of the shadows to confront the truth? And what do you think of her revelations about Ashton Kutcher? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.